Got a question for you. What do Eric Clapton, David Gilmour, Flea, and Brad Paisley all have in common? They all made Fender guitars absolutely legendary. But what's even more legendary is the story of Leo Fender, the man behind the Fender name. My name's Sasquatch, and today we're going to talk about the story of Leo Fender. Clarence Leonidas Fender was born in 1909 in Anaheim, California. He was raised on a farm surrounded by orange groves. While he wasn't necessarily interested in agriculture, what he was interested in was electronics and what made them tick. He would frequently take apart batteries, radios, and anything he could get his hands on in order to try and figure out the intricacies inside. At the age of 8, he lost an eye to a tumor and had a glass eye ever since. That also would render him later incapable of being drafted into World War II. By the late 1930s, Fender had graduated high school, attended junior college for a degree in accounting, but later quit accounting and went back to fixing electronics, which was his passion in life.
Best job I ever had.
Leo would open up the Fender radio service in Fullerton, California, which to this day is registered as a historic landmark in the United States. In that shop, Fender would repair electronics, radios, batteries, and amplifiers brought in by local musicians. He would also dabble in repairing instruments as they became destroyed, and we all know musicians are masterminds of destruction. Fender would go on to build good relationships with these musicians and learn more and more about the musical instruments that he was working on. Working on these instruments would spark a curiosity that would forever change music history and create a revolution. In the 1940s, while war raged across the globe, Leo Fender, ineligible for the draft, would team up with Doc Kaufman. Together they formed K&F, Kaufman and Fender, building lap steel guitars and small amplifiers for the ever-growing and popular Hawaiian and Western music of the time. This partnership, while short-lived, would go on to lead Fender to create his own instrument company called the Fender Electronic Music Company. While the war continued to rage, Fender got his start building musical instruments. Big band music was the absolute background soundtrack to the entire war and to the world at that time. However, the problem with that is that the hollow body guitars and the small anemic amplifiers at the time could not cut through the mix of the horns and other instruments during that period. What was Leo's solution? He developed an electronic solid body guitar, one that had better tone, better sustain, and was much more loud.
Loud noises!
It eliminated feedback and delivered pure tone. Fender would go on to develop the Esquire prototype. It was a solid body guitar with a single pickup, and it was absolutely popular with everybody he's introduced it to.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
It was more compact, more reliable, and much louder and much more popular than its counterparts at the time. With the success of his Esquire prototype, Leo would go on to introduce the mass-produced Broadcaster in 1950. However, that name was quickly disputed by Gretsch in a trademark dispute.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
They had a drum set called the Broadcaster with a K, and Fender backed off of this. What happened then was an interesting thing in history because Fender scrubbed the Broadcaster name from the headstocks, which came to be the Nocaster for a period of time, which are now extremely rare and valuable guitars. Needing to change the name, Fender picked out the name Telecaster, and that name has been around ever since. It's an extremely reliable, well-toned machine that has been popular with country music, blues, rock artists all throughout history. The guitar was rugged, had 2 pickups, a wide range of tone, was loud, bright, and could cut through virtually any mix and any different type of band you could find yourself in. But Leo was not satisfied to stop there.
But wait, there's more!
In 1951, bass players also complaining about the large upright basses that would also feedback and were hard to lug around, wanted something more rugged, more durable, and more compact that could be amplified. Leo's solution to this was the Precision Bass, released in 1951, another mass-produced guitar that went over extremely well with musicians. It was made popular by artists such as Donald Duck Dunn, Roger Waters, and John Paul Jones. This guitar carved a wide swath through history of music. Then came, in 1954, what some would consider to be the greatest guitar of all time.
Excalibur.
Wow.
Fender released the Stratocaster. It was a sleek, futuristic design with a contoured body, 3 single coil pickups, a tremolo bridge, and a wide variety of tone. The guitar was an instant hit.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Quickly adopted by surf band, bluesmen, and rockers of the time, the Stratocaster became an icon for the revolutionaries of the 1960s. From Buddy Holly to Jimi Hendrix, the Fender Stratocaster became synonymous with revolution and rock and roll. Fender didn't stop there. He continued to innovate and develop other guitars such as the Jazzmaster, as seen behind me here, the Jaguar, and the Mustang. He also developed a whole host of bass amps and guitar amps, which equally revolutionized music history as we know it. Some of the most popular amps of his time were as follows: the Fender Deluxe, the Fender Bassman, the Fender Twin, and the Fender Bandmaster, not to mention the Twin, Deluxe, Super, and Princeton Reverb amps of the time. Not only that, but he also onboard packaged spring reverb kits and also tremolo systems. It absolutely revolutionized music as we know it. Going into the mid-1960s, Leo Fender's health began to rapidly decline. In 1965, he decided to sell the Fender Company to CBS for a sum of $13 million, which he considered to be a fair deal at the time. It wasn't long after selling the company, however, that Leo's health began to rebound, and he found himself needing to innovate once more. Leo Fender would go on to develop the Music Man Company for Stingray basses and guitars. He also developed the G&L Guitar Company, and he would continue to innovate and revolutionize guitars and electronics for many years to come. In 1991, after a long battle with Parkinson's disease, Leo Fender died in Santa Ana, California, where he was laid to rest. The next year, in 1992, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame by Keith Richards, which is an incredible accomplishment. While Leo Fender didn't play the guitar, he gave the world the power to create and revolutionize music. He made music louder, bolder, and completely unforgettable. Leo forged a legacy that we all know to this day will not be forgotten. That is the story of Leo Fender. If you guys like this video, I hope you like and subscribe to my channel. Until then, I'll see you next time.